folks, Mike Schramke with Larry Stove Sand Equipment. Let's read some comments and answer some questions. Today is Monday, January 22nd. I've got quite a few because I've been lax, so I might break this into a two-parter. And clearly I'm at my house today, so welcome to La Casa Schramke. Last time I did a video sitting here, I had a lot of comments about the birds behind me. My wife and I must admit, really enjoyed birding, if you will, and identifying the different birds and whatever. So we've got food all over the place, and you know they come visit, and we like to watch them. Somebody commented, "Hey Mike, there's a bird in your squirrel feeder," and true that is. Yesterday, when I was sitting here with my wife watching out the window, we had a visitor come that absolutely scattered the entire population of birds and squirrels and every other moving, living thing in the backyard. This beautiful girl is a Cooper's hawk. Cooper''S. I'm sure it was named for, Joe Cooper. Cooper's hawk. And she is my favorite hawk, and I'll tell you why. A Cooper's hawk, as I learned yesterday after I looked all this up, will literally, if they swoop down and miss with their talons, they'll ground chase whatever they're chasing. So if it's a mouse or squirrel or whatever, they'll run and catch it. Then they don't just kill it by starting to shred it with her beak. She squeezes it to death. There's two ways she kills. She squeezes it to death, or she drowns it. Yeah, that's right. She'll take it to a water source and hold it underwater. So, and I know this is a girl because she's so big. The Cooper's hawk is 30% larger in favor of the female than the male. So this big girl at about 16 inches tall is a female, and she is a badass. She's visited a couple times, and it's just, it's remarkable. Everything scatters. So maybe you'll see my lady friend Cooper's hawk. Bill Weaver, friend of the channel, friend of the store, has commented several times, "Mike, always enjoy your videos, find them very informative, and in all the research I've done, since I have 5 acres of land and other ventures I'm looking into, it's one that's at the top of my list to check out." He is referring to my recent video on a complete presentation of the CX2510, Coyote CX2510. Thank you, Bill, as always. At Ronald Dean, good to see you again, Mike. I've been to many tractor dealers, and I don't think I've ever seen one work as hard to sell equipment as you do. The tractors look great. Thanks for sharing. See you again. I do try to sell. I love doing these videos. I love presenting the product, with folks via YouTube, via this format. I like sharing, but let's be completely honest. I also love selling. I've got 30-something families relying on me to do my job right to sell some iron. So, but thank you, Ronald Dean. Artillery Buff, another friend of the channel. "Hey Mike, does the Coyote DK4520 manual come with the rubber deck, or did you guys add that? Thank you." What an eye. What Artillery Buff 2000, you're the only person on the planet would notice that the DK4520 had a mat, and no, it does not come with a mat. The Coyote has a couple of tractors, literally a couple, two. The CK20 series in non-SE form, and the DK20 series in manual transmission form, that are not standard with a heavy-duty rubber deck mat. We add deck mats to everything because one day, our first year in business, my fat butt climbed up on one of those after we had some ice, and boom! So if it happens to me, it'll happen to other people. So the tractor should come with a rubber deck mat, and we make sure that all of ours do. Gail M. Rutland, 6508. Mike, when a company offers a warranty like that, speaking of the presentation I did on the CX2510 by Coyote, they are sure of their product. I am a believer in that, and I buy accordingly. I completely agree that the warranty is very important, as is the dealer that you buy it from. And here's a thing about warranty. Companies that, and this is, now think about it and go with me on this. There are companies that sell stuff that are distributors. They're not direct distributors of the manufacturer. So I own a machine shop and I build widgets. And the name of the company is Mike's Widget Company. And then Joe, who I'm not affiliated with Joe, but Joe is a wholesale customer of mine. Joe buys my widgets and sells them as Joe's Widgets. If Joe puts a warranty on that, he'll turn to me for reimbursement. And therein lies the rub. Buy stuff, whenever you can, that is sold by and manufactured by the same company. Both TYM and Coyote are Korean companies, of course, everybody knows that. And I am a representative and a franchisee, and I get my stuff from the American entity of the Korean company, Coyote USA, TYM North America. They are wholly owned by their parent companies. I say this because I used to, in my first job in the tractor business, and some of you know what brand it was, the tractor was built in a different country, of course, and I was a dealer of the distributor in the United States. So when we had a warranty claim, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we would turn to who we got the tractor from, the distributor, and they would drag their feet or make a, just nitpick. It was a nightmare. And here's another thing, and this doesn't have anything to do with warranty. This has to do with buying from the manufacturer that built the machine. There are companies that have left the United States that are still in business and still thriving. For example, anybody as old as me remembers that you could foolishly buy a Peugeot car back in the 70s and into the 80s. You could buy a French Peugeot. They were horrible cars, and very few people bought them. Now, those that did buy them got hung with them after the company left North America. They didn't go out of business. Peugeot is a world leader in automotive industries. They're still in business, but they are not in business here. And there's certainly Citroen. There's many examples like that of companies that are in business, but they leave the market. Isuzu, good cars, Japanese cars, good cars, great trucks. They had little trucks you could buy for $6,000. Left the country. As it applies to tractors, it can also, if you want to think about this, if you're looking at a tractor that is, say it's a brand of tractor, it's the Sunshine Tractor Company tractor, and it's a good tractor, but it's made by somebody else and it's rebranded as a Sunshine. The manufacturer is a fine company and they build good tractors, but you're buying it from the Sunshine Tractor Company, who is not the manufacturer. What if Sunshine fails? Okay, the manufacturer isn't going to warranty the tractor. I mean, why would they? You didn't buy it from them. That wasn't the deal. You bought it from Sunshine. And so, I don't know, should you avoid buying rebranded tractors? Not always. Let's face it. A rebranded Yanmar that's a John Deere, well, Deere isn't going anywhere. Deere builds fine tractors, and so does Yanmar, and they've had a relationship for 1,000 years. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when TYM, for example, sold tractors to Cabela's. Yeah, they were green. Certainly a fine tractor. TYM makes great tractors, but Cabela's threw in the towel, and then these people had Cabela tractors with what do you do then? You can still get parts, of course, because it's TYM, but warranty, not so much. I probably lost half of you by now because I'm rambling. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. At ABC-Ed1NR, Mike, are you seeing issues with the front axle or hubs on these machines? I was being warned off of them because of some design flaw. And at ABC-Ed is speaking of a video I did on the TYM T574/T494, same tractor, different horsepower. No, there is not a problem with an inherent problem with that tractor. People that complain about their front axles, and I'll never say every time, I'll say almost all of the time, broke the axles themselves by leaving it in four-wheel drive 100% of the time. I have a customer, and I love this man. He has bought a K9, a tractor, and 2 other pieces of equipment from me through the years, and he goes back to way back when I first went in business. So he's I think he's one of the original 50. I keep a list. His Coyote tractor has had 3 front axles put in it, and it's under warranty. Remember that they're under warranty for 6 years, so he hasn't spent a dime on axle repairs. But I told him, here, fill in the blank name, if you continue to do this when the tractor's out of warranty, they won't be paying for any more axles. The next axle is on you, and he forgets, I think. He leaves it in four-wheel drive all the time, so even on hard pavement or hard grass when he's cutting grass or whatever, it's always in four-wheel drive. Think about your pickup truck. If it's a four-wheel drive, and it's not an automatic four-wheel drive, it's a regular four-wheel drive. If you put it in four-wheel drive on hard pavement and turn the wheel all the way to one side or the other, it gets that horrible clunk, and it hurts your soul feeling that, because you know how hard the truck is struggling. Basic physics dictate that if you have a wheel here and a wheel here on a common axle and start turning, the inside wheel turns a lot faster than the outside wheel. They're not going the same speed. That's how they get ruined. There's some margin for, they're not built to break the first time, they're built to break the 800th time. So no, front axles, and I can't think of a single tractor off the top of my head that has like bad front axles, and that's certainly one of them. It's usually a bad customer practice. Joe the Farmer, great friend of the channel, great friend of the store, and I am a great fan of his channel. I did a video again on the Coyote CS overview. Great video, Mike. Makes me really want a more compact machine to go with my RX. Just so much you can do with it. Well, thank you, Joe. And Joe the Farmer is the proud owner of a Larry Stotzan Equipment Coyote RX 7320 and a 15-foot flex wing cutter. Joe the Farmer is a good guy, not only because he's a good guy, but he's a customer. So, yay, Joe the Farmer. You ought to check out his channel, Joe the Farmer. Easy to find. At Kurt in Farmer 1565, a question for your next answers and questions. Just purchased a CK2620 hydrostat from Orchard Hill. Great experience. Yes, Orchard Hill is an absolutely fine dealership in the state of Massachusetts. Good people. The Kirby family, and Marshall Kirby, he probably bought it from Marshall. Good people. Reading through the manual, it says the following. Driving the new tractor at a high speed or under heavy load can affect its durability. Make sure to run the tractor at the proper workload and speed for the initial operation of 10 to 20 hours, which that's gibberish. It goes on to include some tips such as do not drive the tractor at the maximum speed on the road and never apply excessive load during work. Could you give me some tips based on experience on the best way to break the tractor in, not break the tractor, but break the tractor in during the first 50 hours, and maybe some specifics on RPM levels? I love this question because the folks that wrote the owner's manual do not have experience. Dealers and owners, technicians that sell and service the product and own the product, they are the ones, myself included, that have experience with the equipment. So I love this question. Thank you, Kurt. CK2610 is the Coyote CK2620, pardon me, CK2620 HTS, I'm sure he means a hydrostat, is the simplest design tractor probably that Coyote offers. Mechanical fuel injection, no computer. You open the hood and you're like, wow, I can see everything, I can touch everything, and that's true. Not that technology makes for bad tractors, but this one couldn't be any simpler, and it's an engine that Coyote has made since who knows when, for a long time, and it's a good one. During the first 50 hours of operation, I don't think it has anything to do, durability, hurting it, helping it, doing anything with it when it comes to engine RPM. Keeping it at the proper, what is it, 2600? I'm going to look while we're talking about this. Yes, the rated revolution is 2600 RPMs. The tractor should run at 2600 RPMs. That's where it likes to run, that's where the engineers designed it to run, and that's where it should run, especially on a hydrostat. That hydrostat is driven by the engine's hydraulic pump, and to pump hydraulics it needs horsepower. And horsepower is generated by RPMs. Run the tractor at 2600 RPMs. But a lot of folks don't like to run the tractors at the rated revolution. They're like, oh, I don't want to run the thing wide open. Well, yes, you do. That's the way it was designed to run. For one thing, that's how it cools itself. That's how it pumps its fluid, whether you need hydraulics for the transmission or the front loader, the rear, power steering. It needs to run at its rated RPMs. And I'll tell you my take on that might help you. Small gasoline engines, single cylinders, V-twins, when they stick them on a lawnmower, whether it's a push mower or a big expensive, Ferris, a $15,000 Ferris, they run at 3,600 RPMs. It's the industry standard, 3,600 RPMs. You wouldn't take a $15,000 Ferris or a $200 Walmart push mower and start it and run it at half throttle while you cut grass or even drove around the yard, hopefully, because that's not how it works. There's the hawk. Did you see the shadow? How it works. There's the hawk. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. The gasoline engine needs to run at 3,600 RPMs. That also is how it cools itself. It has its fan right on top of the motor, and these have radiators, of course, but they're not capable of reaching highway speeds, so all of the air that passes through the radiator fins, 100% of it, is generated by the fan, and it needs RPMs to stick it through. I would run it at the rated RPMs after it was warmed up a bit. I'll probably stop after this one and make a part two. Rich in New York, he bought a T494 from me, and he's a great guy. Senator of New York State. I know who you are, Rich. I got a T494 from you. Maybe a video comparing the 4820 to the T494 and the Coyote NSDK. I will happily make videos that compare the TYMs to each other and the Coyotes to each other, but can you imagine, especially with the 10,000 subscribers I have, the manufacturer's opinion of me if I made comparison videos of their product with a competitor's product? They already don't like that I have both brands, so Rich, you can certainly understand that would be uncool. Loves his 494 because he's had 81 hours with no regen. Well, yeah, that's the way it's designed. And he says it makes a difference who puts your machine together. your guy who does 100 tractors a year, or Jethro at the local dealer does 2 or 3. Mine was perfect. My neighbor got a 3515 TYM, and he's always messing around with loose bolts and misrouted hydraulics and leaky fittings. And he goes on to say how aggravated his neighbor gets. And Rich, you're right. But that said, we make mistakes, and we have certainly delivered a tractor or two that has a hydraulic leak, and it's extraordinarily embarrassing, and it shouldn't ever happen. But we sell, 700 tractors a year, and that's no excuse, but it just math will catch up with you, and it has happened. The difference is, whatever dealer you're working with, or whatever vendor in life you buy anything from, you hand this man or woman your money and the ball gets dropped. Okay, as long as he or she bends down to pick the ball back up, well, drop the ball, I drop the ball, and hopefully I will always be considered the guy that bends back down and picks the ball up. Those are the first half of the comments and questions on this beautiful frigid day in Middle Tennessee. Frigid meaning it was 17 this morning, but we will have a high today of 40, so that'll be quite pleasant, and maybe some of this nasty snow will go away. So Monday, January 22nd, thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe. It really does help move my the magic of YouTube analytics. It helps my company. The more subscribers, the higher YouTube moves my videos up when somebody makes an inquiry. Thank you, and I'm going to now make another video, part 2. Thank you.